is a new series of children's books about, well, it's called Penny Pangolin. I do love the name, which have been released as audiobooks with a bit of an Aussie flavour. We have on the line author Wayne D. Kramer, joins me all the way from Indiana. Hello, Wayne. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Good to hear you. So who is Penny Pangolin?
Yeah, Penny Pangolin is a fun character that I came up with. She is a pangolin, of course, as the name suggests, which is a real animal. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Many people have not.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So pangolins, they are mammals, the only mammals in the world that have these keratin scales all over their bodies, kind of like armor. So it's a really fun character to play with because of that, being a pangolin, being that species. Armored scales, prehensile tail, long sticky tongue, eats ants and termites, all this fun stuff. So it's kind of unique. You know, I felt like there's plenty of dog and cat books out there already. If I was going to do something in the children's book space, I wanted to do something unique. And so in consultation with my family, with my kids especially, I have 5 daughters, we landed on the pangolin, and that is my main character.
So what pangolin? So 2 questions here. Why was it important to write about Penny Pangolin? But tell us why the pangolins, they are endangered. Why are they endangered, Wayne?
Yeah, they are critically endangered. There's 8 species, 4 in Asia, 4 in Africa, all of them endangered. And primarily it's because they are hunted for their scales, for meat, sometimes for traditional medicines, even though modern science pretty much negates that there's any benefit to pangolins in medicine. It's illegal for them to be caught. They are the most trafficked animal on the planet. And so, you know, when I decide, I'm actually an author of fantasy books, or that's what I was doing before I got into children's books at all. And, but I have 5 daughters, and they essentially demanded that I start doing children's books as well. And so we had, talked about what kind of character do we want to do. I wanted it to be something unique, as I mentioned. And they had been watching shows about pangolins, reading books about pangolins. So that, that was my first influence. But then on top of realizing how endangered they are, that there's a real conservation need, that we could really raise awareness and do some good by getting books like that out there. That was appealing to me. So I wanted to, that's for me, that was kind of like a green light, move forward. This is an awesome animal and a cool character. And that's how we ended up with that. And I love it because it's, because of that purpose driven aspect.
They're such amazing creatures to look at, aren't they? They're almost dinosaur-like, but my guess is they can camouflage themselves quite well. And that tongue, what does that tongue do? That's pretty.
If you watch a
good
video of one just walking around, they're 4-legged, but they often walk on just their back legs. So, and they have their front legs have these really big digging claws. So when they're walking, they're kind of hobbling around with these big claws, almost like little mini T-Rexes walking around.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Amazing. So what sort of adventures does Penny get up to?
Yeah, so there's 6 books in the series so far, and they are each centered around a different theme. So we have themes like forgiveness when a friend does something wrong to you. So in this one, I'm thinking of Penny Pangolin and the missing ant cake. That one's kind of like a fun, mystery. Who took the cake? And then when she realizes it was her neighbor, she's, kind of faced with this conflict of helping her friend get out of a bad situation, doing what's easy versus doing what's right, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Even though she took the cake. So there's kind of that lesson of forgiveness there. But then there's things like bullying and screen time awareness and food sensitivities, each book having a different theme that I feel is relevant for kids today. So it's going back to, again, having that purpose behind it. But none of them are preachy. They're all, it's all just part of the plot, part of the fun, just the characters doing their everyday things, living their lives, and facing everyday challenges like any of us would, like any kids today would.
We're chatting to Wayne D. Kramer at Penny Pangolin. You can, if your bookshop doesn't have them, I am sure that they can order them in. But if you go to the website pennypangolin.com, yes. How did it become that David McCormick, who voices Bandit in Bluey. He's narrating the audio versions of Penny Pangolin. How did that come about?
Yeah. So that's just a whole fun thing that developed. I had written 3 of the books. This was a couple years ago. I had already written the first 3 of the books, and I was at a Comic-Con event in Lexington, Kentucky, and I had an author table, was selling my books. But David McCormack and Melanie Zanetti, who does the voice of Chili, were both there as guests. And I decided I was going to do a photo shoot with them. So I got the photo shoot, went and met David and Melanie. And David immediately looked at my badge and was like, "Oh, you're a vendor. What are you vending?" He started asking me about it. And, I had my shirt on, I had my badge. And so I told him about the books. Later on, found him at his autograph table, and I thought, I'd take a little bit of initiative and give him a set of the books. So I did that, and, just kind of didn't think much of it, was just making the connection. But later on, I thought audiobooks might be kind of a fun new way for people to experience these books, an additional way. I was revamping everything, coming up with new covers, and launching 3 more books. So I thought audiobooks would be a cool thing to add in as well. But if I was going to do that, it had to be with a voice that was impactful and recognizable and resonated with kids and families. Ideally, someone very recognizable. And I looked up at that picture I had taken with David and thought, I wonder if he would do it. And I reached out to them, him and his team, and we worked some things out. He remembered getting the books from me at Lexington, and things just took off from there. And it was great fun doing it. I actually came to Sydney a year ago for the audiobooks recording, and he was really great fun to work with.
I don't think us Aussies here underestimate how big Bluey is around the world. Bluey's huge in America, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number 1 streamed show in the world, actually, not just of children's shows, but of all shows.
Yeah, wow. Wayne, I've got so many more questions to ask you. We are running a little bit short of time, but I did want to ask you, because you did mention your fantasy book, so they're Heroes of Times. So this is your first foray into children's. What was the challenge? Did you had to make sure Penny Pangolin didn't pull out a sword? Did you find that a little bit of a challenge, or to go between the two?
The biggest thing for me was actually, and it's going to sound funny because it almost doesn't sound like a challenge, but it actually was.
Yeah.
Adjusting from writing long form, like 75,000 to over 100,000 word books, into condensing a story and actually having a meaningful, good story within about 1,000 words. These children's picture books are usually something between like 800 and maybe 1,200 words. And it's actually, when you're used to writing out long form novels, it's actually quite an adjustment to go down and condense it. Coming up with the first drafts and such doesn't necessarily take a lot of time, but then it's like a constant revision process, just searching for the exact right words and phrasing to get it down to that condensed number. A lot of back and forth with the editors and such. So that's probably the biggest challenge for me. And also writing it in conjunction with the illustrations, because you have to write it with the illustrations in mind. The text comes first and the illustrations then come from that, but you're letting the illustrations tell part of the story as well. So you're not doing things like large descriptions. Yeah.
But you've got an Aussie illustrator. We're very proud of our Aussies. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a coincidence that it worked out that I have both an Aussie illustrator and narrator now for this series, but I love it. Yes, Jade Zavanovic is based out of Victoria, and she was first illustrating the covers of my fantasy books. So that's where I was working with her from before. And when I got into the idea of children's books, approached her for that. She ended up having a really great, diverse style that could carry over, and did an excellent job on the illustrations. Well, look, she looks lovely, Penny. I look forward to hearing more about, and who knows, Penny Pangolin could be the next big Bluey. You never know. You never know. That would be a hope, wouldn't it? It would, yeah. That'd be great. So the Penny Pangolin book series, like I said,
If you don't have them in store, all you have to do is ask your bookshop. Do you, or pennypangolin.com. Wayne, are you?
Also shop.pennypangolin.com. We do have stock in Australia.
Oh, great.
So if you go to that website, it'll load an Australian localized version because based on you being in Australia, we have them in stock now with bundle deals for the whole set of 6 or just a good price for any individual books. But also, yes, like Dymocks in Sydney has them. Harry Hartog in Sydney and Mosman has them. And other stores can order them as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Dymocks in Adelaide is pretty good, so I'm sure they have it as well. And
yeah, they can get it too, yes.
Yeah, and you can look up Wayne D. Kramer as well, Heroes of Time, if you're interested in those books as well. Wayne, thank you so much for chatting. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wayne D. Kramer, Penny Pangolin. Look out for it.